Oh my gosh, it's Monday morning.
It is Monday.
That's right.
Our favorite day.
Some
Lies,
days.
all lies.
Some days is my favorite
I
day.
know.
Not every day is my favorite day, but today is a favorite day. And I'm Marshall Shore here on the morning show with
Melissa Farley. We are at the fabulous Arizona Center. And we are joined by a wonderful guest. I can't wait for you to see his style. He's going to show you up for once, Marshall.
I don't know, because he is styling.
You both are styling. All right, this is Mike B. Dapper, and you are a booker, I
Yes.
understand, for comedy at the Comedy House?
The House of Comedy.
The House of Comedy. Okay. What a cool job. Like, that sounds like fun.
It can be. It definitely
But
can
it's a
be.
job. It's a
Yes,
job.
yes.
Yes.
One thing I like to do as a booker at our club is bring different type of comedy, because you have traditional comedy where somebody gets on stage and does stand up, and then you have different other elements of comedy where you have people doing different side shows, whether it's like acting, you have interaction with the crowd, we have a screen, so there's all kind of elements with social media put in there. So when you come like on a weekday, there's local comedians, so
Okay.
we have a huge local talent.
So
That's growing and growing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the incredible thing is, just seeing the comedy scene as it's been developing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really amazing too, because you wouldn't guess how there's over 1,000 comedians performing in Phoenix alone.
Wow.
Actually, I'm not shocked by
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then if you go, like, there's different, and they do so many things. Just like we have shows on a show on the 15th, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, where we're doing a fundraising show for. They have a nonprofit organization where random guys just go out and do different jobs that people need. If you need a ramp put in your house,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, you got comedians and people helping, fix the community.
That's really cool. So tell me, like, because I used to be an actor, and so I know
Okay.
the audition process. But when you're a comic and you're trying to get booked by you,
By me?
yeah,
Okay.
what is that process like? Do they have to send you a demo? Do they come in and do live
Maybe
auditions?
they send a knock-knock joke.
Marshall would
Hey, you know what? That would be better than some of the routes some people go through. Okay, I would appreciate that one. Well, I do a showcase. So on certain Sundays in the month, I'll have a showcase show where I'll have just brand new comics that come out, and they'll show 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because 5 minutes is a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time. When you first start, it's a lot of time.
Right.
And you want to be able to just be funny in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Then you want to grow to be funny in 7 minutes. And then at that point, because our shows on the weekends, the comics do 20 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Long set.
Oh,
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
So 20 minutes is a long time to hold
Yeah.
somebody's
That-
attention.
That
Yeah.
is.
So one could think in 5 minutes you're really good, but after 12 minutes people start to nod off, and
Yeah. It's like you're only good in short doses, my
Right.
friend.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
so you want to build that 5 minutes, and along the way you have to go to open mics. You have to, because there's open mics all throughout the valley. We have shows Tuesdays and Wednesdays for local talent specifically, so you have those nights at the House of Comedy to be able to grow as a comedian, as a young comedian, to be able to get to the weekend to be with the headliners.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, are you a comic yourself?
Yeah. I tell a few jokes. I host on Sundays. I host the Sunday shows. So we have different variety shows on Sundays. I host a show, the Late Night Mic, where I'll have comics. They'll perform. They'll do their set.
Yeah.
And then I'll sit down and I'll interview them just like you're interviewing me.
Well,
So
how are we doing? No.
you're doing a fabulous job, because I feel like I'm looking fabulous right now.
You do. You look great. You look great. Yeah. So I'm always fascinated, sort of, though, by, this is going to sound maybe a little judgy, but I'm just going to say it. Like, a lot of creative people have a really hard time moving into business management, organization, that side of things. And so to hear kind of that you're also a creative, although comics are smart. Like, comedic acting is some of the hardest work I've ever had to do in my life. So maybe that's not that big of a a gap to think that you would be interested kind of in this technical side as well.
It's interesting because you have so many people that start their base from comedy that work into the production. They get behind the camera and they're doing all that. So just to be a comedian is just learning how to get on stage and be funny. Then the other element becomes the promoting yourself.
Right.
And with social media the way it is now, and TikTok and Instagram, you have all these elements to be able to express yourself behind the camera. Because some people are really funny when they're creating, but then you get them on stage and you be like, make people laugh, and they're not as funny as they were when they were creating, and they had the element to stop, action, boom,
Right. So it's like a produced product.
Right.
You kind of have control over all these different elements, but when you're on stage, it's all you.
It is.
Like,
It is all you.
That's all
You can't pause and be like, hey, let me look at something, let me do something, and let me come back. Cause
Well, you can't. Well, when you first start off, just like you said, when I first started off, I couldn't remember my jokes, so I didn't want to look at a pad. I would write them on like the palm, right, my hand right here.
Yeah.
And then I'd grab a water and I'd look at my hand, and then I remember the joke. And
Did your eyes get real big?
I hope you did the same eyes, because like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Is there like Coke in that water? What's going on
Like,
there?
yeah, this is a big one right here.
Oh, we got a joke coming. We got a joke. Oh, there we go. There's a joke for you.
It's like when you see those like sitcoms where like kids write all the answers for their tests on their arms.
Exactly.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm curious about too, we had I'm not smashing, but we had another comic on our show before. Do you remember that?
Oh.
And he was very serious,
Okay.
and I felt like if you weren't paying him, or like if he wasn't in that comic space, he almost got like offended if you wanted him
He didn't
to
have
be
the
funny.
switch. His switch was not
Is-
flipped on.
Is that like a thing?
That's
Like-
absolutely a thing, because you have comics that are characters.
Right.
Their set is a character, and people tend to only want to see them in that character, and they can subconsciously think that people only want to see them in that character, so they stay in character.
Okay.
And they really don't know how to get outside of character. I know comics who have characters that want to perform different sets, different things. There's different topics, but they're so in that character, it's hard to get into a broader range of comedy.
Interesting. Okay. So you've kind of talked about that really cool thing that you brought up of, comedians and doing
Neighbors
that.
help neighbors.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about your work in those kinds of programs and how you're connecting the community through comedy?
Well, we always like to have, like one event that helps, whether it's, like Neighbors Helping Neighbors. This is our second year doing that. And when you come to the show, we have raffles, and the raffles, all the money goes right into the organization and helping people be able. So if you're like, my driveway is broken up, they'll come and, cement your driveway, free of charge. And all that money that is donated in these different raffles go to those.
Wow.
That's really cool. How did you come up with that? Did you come
I
up
did
with
not
that?
come out. I did not do that. Okay. There is a great comedian out here, Mike Yarnell. He's a performer. He performs out here, and he was a part of the organization, and he connected me with the organization. So throughout times, there's different things, whether because comedians stick together. If one of us, gets sick, somebody has cancer, we pull together, and we'll have shows. At this club, all for, be able to raise money to, help one of our own. So we're always trying to help the community and help one another whenever, we might bicker and fight as comedians do, but
Well, as you do.
as we do, but
Or maybe tell a few jokes, get some laughs in the process.
Yes, and that's the key to everything, is laughter, because when you come out, you want to be entertained. You want to escape from whatever it is that's going on, the stress in your world, and that's our job. Is to give people an outlet to be able to say, hey, and that's why I like to do different variety shows, so that you're not just getting stand-up, you're also getting, improv, you're also
Right.
getting acting, you're getting all kind of different things.
So let's go heavy for a second. I'm
Okay.
sure you've been asked this before and you've talked about it before, but I've never had you here before. So,
Okay.
A lot of people, comedy has changed, or at least culture and society has changed in the sense that a lot of things that used to be free range now suddenly feel like off the table, or you can't go there. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you handle that at your club? I mean, are there just certain things that you won't do now, or what are your thoughts?
Comedy is it has evolved, but with everything else, you have to evolve with it. Okay, you can't just say I was going to play basketball the way they played basketball in the 50s,
Right.
because you would not be able to compete. So they had to evolve with time, just like comedy has evolved. That's the where the craftsman comes in,
Yeah.
where you have to be conscious of, because we live in a society where everybody is just trying to get attention,
Right.
and comedy is struggling to be a part where it's like, are you trying to be funny, or are you trying to get attention?
Yeah.
And so it crosses the lines at time. I'm not a person that ever tells anybody, you can't say that, because I don't want to stifle your creativity. You might be the person that says the joke that I never thought, someone could get away with.
Right.
But you have to understand, with that attempt comes consequences if you're not
Right.
successful.
Right.
And everyone has to live with those consequences. And those consequences are, people don't want to, watch you anymore.
Right.
People have the right to say, I don't want to watch you. I'm
Right.
going to tune you out. And that comes with your taking risks. So you can be a comedian who sits up there and, as a quarterback, just takes the safe 5 yards,
Right.
5 yards. Or you can try up the field. If you try up that field and it gets intercepted by that joke not landing and people being offended, then you have to live with that.
Right.
So, but it might land and everybody's like, oh my God, that joke was amazing.
I think this is going to get weird a little bit, but so I'm writing a book about death, and that
Okay.
always, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know what to do with that, even when you just say, like, I'm writing a book about death. But one of the things that I did for a while was I got so fascinated with how comedians could talk about death in ways that other people couldn't. And I would sometimes watch, even like, I'm being really bad here, I watched this comedian, he's super famous on TikTok, but he went and had this audience interaction and was going to kind of make fun of this woman's tattoos, but it turned out that all of her tattoos were like her children that had passed away. And I was like, oh my God, what is he going to do with that? And he handled it with humor, but with kind of this grace and intelligence that I don't, just seems so foreign to me. But that's what I love about good comedy, is that you're able to kind of go to these really human, relatable places and have those kinds of moments and conversations that, like, I couldn't just go up to somebody and have that kind of interaction,
Well, it's just like comedy's like painting, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to see some people that can paint that's regular, then you're going to see artists that are just like, wow. And you're going to see everything it's going to come to life. That picture is going to come to life. Comedy is the same way. Whether you're talking about something happy, whether you're talking about something sad, the way you paint that picture that people are listening, it will either dictate whether they feel offended or whether they're just captivated. And a lot of the appeal of it isn't always being hilarious every second.
Yeah.
It's being entertaining to the point where somebody is sitting there, because as a booker, I tell comics, I don't judge you all the time by laughter. I look at the engagement that people, if somebody's sitting up there and they're just smiling and they're looking at you, they're engaged with whatever you're saying. So that right there is entertainment. It doesn't always have to be you're making everybody laugh and, roll out of their seat. You can just be truly entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. I remember going to one show, and it was fascinating to watch. They started with the newest comic, and then basically it's like a seniority. And watching the more seasoned comics try to land the audience, because it was a very diverse crowd, and so it was like the same material wouldn't appeal to each group, so they had to sit there and figure, okay, is there a commonality between these groups? And you could just kind of see this like almost like slithering, going, okay, what's going on, how do I get a reaction? And it wasn't necessarily looking for, and you're right, it wasn't looking for a laughter, it was looking for looks, that engagement. And so, and it was so interesting using that as the gauge.
Because as a comic, your crowd is different every night. So the challenge is different every night.
Right.
You never know what party is going to come in. You never know which group is coming, what age group is coming in.
Right.
So you have to be able to, until you are that person that everybody's coming to see, you have to be subconscious of who you're talking to and how to get the reaction you want to be able to entertain them. Because not every night you come to see me, I definitely don't tell the same jokes.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna look at my audience and be like, all right, well, tonight we're gonna go with this one. I see this crowd, I know this one's gonna work.
I knew you guys did that. I knew that happened. Yeah,
Oh, of
because
course,
I was
right.
like, there's no way they just like try the same thing every single time. But I want to say, we talked some serious stuff, but I also want to say it's such, I think, a treasure what you do and the line of work that you do. Like joy is so important right now and in everybody's lives. And the fact that that's your job is like curating joy, that's really cool.
Yeah, and because laughter is great medicine.
I remember when everything shut down during the pandemic, and the first thing that reopened was comedy stores.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I had friends that were doing comedy in their backyard and Facebook living it, and just like bringing on some comics, like they show the crowd where everybody was like 6 feet away wearing masks and everything. So.
I did a show in front of a parking lot of cars. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it was like Mad Max. It was great.
That's really cool.
Nobody put it in drive.
And they laugh by flashing their lights and honking their horns.
God, that's hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been so enthralled with you. We've almost doubled your interview time. I don't even know if you noticed,
yeah.
but thank you so much for being here today.
thank you.
Please share a little bit about where people can come see shows, learn more about you. Give them all the good stuff.
The House of Comedy, we're on off the 101 in High Street. Every Tuesdays and Wednesdays we have local comedy shows. Sundays you can find me there hosting shows. Just go to the website houseofcomedy.net.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. We've got another guest, things to do, history, all of our good
kinds
stuff.
of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we will see you right back here at the fabulous Arizona Center. See, I squeezed
Snuck
it
in another one. I see you. I see you.